So what we're going to be going over today is how to graph linear equations. So let's get started. Let's start with coordinate plane. A Cartesian coordinate system specifies each point uniquely in a plane by a pair of numerical values. Okay, coordinates. This is what you're used to seeing in your algebra classes, alright? This was a Cartesian coordinate plane. It's this XY axis type of thing. Okay? Now ordered pairs, alright, two numbers that are written in a certain order. Your X and your Y. Now, we're looking at the parts of the graph. Okay? The line that runs from left to right, or the horizontal line, is your x-axis. From this point to the right is all positive numbers. From this point to the left is all negative numbers. From this point up is all positive. From this point down is all negative. Alright? Now the one that goes up and down is called the y-axis. So x-axis, y-axis. And finally the point where they meet, it's called the origin. At this point it is 0, 0. Okay? The origin is known as 0, 0 coordinate. Now, in an ordered pair, the first number is the x coordinate, okay? The second number is the y coordinate. Okay? So you're always looking for the x, then your y coordinate. Now how we graph these is we look at our coordinate. This is the x, this is the y. So the x and the y. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look on our graph. This is the x, this is the y. Okay? We're going to start at 0. Now since this is always negative and we have a negative 3, we're going to go over 3. 1, 2, 3. Right here is negative 3. Now, the y is 2. So since this is positive, this is negative, we're going to go up 1, 2. Now, where these meet, alright, right here, is the point that we're graphing. Okay? An easier way to do this would have been just go over 1, 2, 3, and go up 1, 2. That's how you graph a point. Now, the x and the y axis separate the coordinate plane into 4 regions called quadrants. Alright? These are numbered from from right to left to down like this, in this order. It goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, in the first coordinate quadrant, you have positive x's and positive y's. So all these numbers are going to have positive x's and positive y's. So we have positive x's, positive y's. In this one, we have positive y's but negative x's. So you're going to have negative x's, positive y's. And 3. You have negatives and negatives. So you're going to have negatives, negative. Final last one, positive, negative, positive, negative. Okay, those are the 4 different quadrants. Now, it's only in a certain quadrant if it's actually in the space. If it's on the line, it has no quadrant. That means this point here, it has no quadrant. This point here, that has no quadrant. It would have to be out in the actual quadrant for it to be in that quadrant. Using that idea, let's plot points and name the quadrants. Negative 3, negative 4. Okay. Negative 1, 2, 3. Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Clearly this is in a quadrant. Which quadrant is it? Well, let's go back up to our thing. What quadrant would that be? It would be quadrant 3. Next one, negative 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right here. Okay, so what quadrant would that be? Well, let's look. That looks like it's right here. Quadrant 2. O6. Alright, O. Alright, so we don't have any x value, but we have all y value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Well, as I said before, if it's on a line, it doesn't have a quadrant. So no quadrant. So next, 7, 3. Well, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up 1, 2, 3. What quadrant is that? 1. Finally, 3. Negative 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. That is in quadrant 4. So let's now actually label our points. A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. Now, the next portion, the solution of an equation. Alright, the solution of an equation, alright, with two variables x and y is any ordered pair x, y that makes the equation true. Alright, now what does that mean? Well, this is what it means. This is your x value, and this is your y value. So your x value, your y value. Okay, so our x value is 3, our y value is 10. So we're going to go to our little equation over here, y and x. Now what we're going to do is we're going to substitute these numbers in. Our y, well, we know that to be 10 equals 4. Now since this 4 is next to the x, it means multiplication. So it's 4 times whatever x is. Well, we know x is 3. So it's 4 times 3. So we get 10 equals 12. Now, since 10 does not equal 12, we know this to be false. This is not a solution to the equation. So, no, not a solution. Now, what I want you guys to do is to take your note packets. Alright, I want you to take your note packets, and I want you to do A, B, and C. So pause the video and do A, B, and C by yourself. Alright, now you should have done A, B, and C by yourself. Let's do this really quickly to see if these are true. X, Y. Oh, let me adjust my camera real fast. This is your X, Y, X, Y. Okay, let's do A. A, the X is 0, the Y is negative 12. So, 3 times 0 minus negative 12 equals 12. Well, 3 times 0 is 0. Negative and negative makes it positive. Equals 12. So 12 equals 12. Well, that is true. So A works. B. 1, 9. Alright, so B. Let's look at B. 3 times 1 minus 9 equals 12. Well, 3 times 1 is 3 minus 9. Well, that equals negative 6. Negative 6 does not equal 12. So B is not a solution. C. Let's look at C. 2 negative 6. Alright. So 3 times 2 minus a negative 6 equals 12. Well, that's 6 plus 6 equals 12. 12 does in fact equal 12, so this is a solution. So A and C are solution, B is not. Now, let's move on. Alright. Let's go to the different forms. You have standard form. Okay, standard form for linear equations is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are a real number. Y-intercept form is the form we're most commonly used to. It's the y equals mx plus b form, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So, in most problems, if it's in standard form, we usually try to get it into the y-intercept form, because it's easiest to graph in the y-intercept form. Now, graphing linear equations. Step 1. Find the y-intercept and make a point. Okay. Step 2 is use the slope, rise over run, from the y-intercept to find your second point. Okay. Third, connect the 2 points and you'll have yourself a straight line. Well, we're going to graph negative 2x plus 3. So we're going to graph negative 2x plus 3. Well, our y-intercept is 3. So what that means is that the coordinate 0, 3 is our y-intercept, meaning where it crosses the y-axis. So let's go find 0, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right here's our y-intercept. Okay. Now, our slope is negative 2. Okay, because we know our slope is the number in front of the x. This is our slope. Now, normally if we have a number that doesn't have a denominator, we can put 1 under it. The reason why we're doing this is because we need our slope. Our slope is known as the rise over the run, meaning how much we go up or down in the x values over how much we go left or right in the y values. So, let's go to this point. We have a negative 2 as our rise. Well, negative means going down, considering instead of going up would be positive, down is negative. So we go down 1, 2 to this point right here. Okay, now we have to do our run. Well, our run is 1. That means the positive 1. Positive, you're going to go to the right. Negatives, you're going to go to the left. So since it's the positive one, we're going to go to the right one. So now we have our 2 points. What we're going to do is we're going to connect them. And there we go, folks. We just graphed a line. Now I want you guys to stop the video and see if you can do this one and this one on yourself. Do this one and this one by yourself. Okay, let's do this together. First thing, -2. Well, -2 is our y-intercept. So let's find -2 on our graph. There's -2 on the y-intercept. Our slope is -3. So let's look at -3. Well, -3 over 1 is our slope. So -3, remember negatives go downwards. 1, 2, 3, and since it's a positive one, it goes over 1. So your graph should look something like that. One-third. Now, notice we do not have a y-intercept. So when nothing's there, technically 0 is there. So our y-intercept is at the origin. So this is our y-intercept. Now we do actually have a slope this time. It's 1/3. Okay, so it's 1 over 3, telling us to go up 1 over 1, 2, 3. Graph should look something like that. Okay. Now, there's things called special lines. Okay, special lines are x equals a, where a is a real number that makes a horizontal. I'm sorry. That is a lie. Vertical. I do apologize. Vertical. It's supposed to be vertical. Okay. At the point on the x-axis. Y equals a, where a is a real number, makes a horizontal line at the point on the y-axis. So let's look at this. X equals 3. Okay, so x vertical, x vertical, vertical is up and down, horizontal is left and right. Vertical. So we're going to look at x equals 3. Well, what they're asking for is when x equals 3 and y is 0. X equals 3 and y is 0. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, make a little point. Now, since it's an x equals, it's an up and down line. So, just x equals 3. So we make an up and down line at x equals at 3. Y equals -2 is the next one. Well, -2 is right here. Now, since it's a y, it's horizontal. So we make a horizontal line. Okay, so that's what these look like. Vertical, horizontal. Finally, we get to the graphing nonlinear equations. We have to make a table in order to graph the function. Okay. When you're making a table, okay, this is what you're going to have to do. Call this the XY tables. Okay. You're going to make a t-chart. Then we're going to make some x values up. Okay. Most likely on the test, I will give you the x values. That way you just have to plug them in. But when we use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Now, our equation is y equals x squared. That means we're going to square all our x's, and that's what gives us our y values. So, first one, -2. So we're going to put -2 squared. Well, if you put it into your calculator correctly, you'll get 4. -1. Well, let's do -1 squared. You put that in your calculator correctly, you'll get +1. 0 squared. That equals 0. 1 squared equals 1. 2 squared equals 2. Okay. So, now that we've actually made our t-chart and that we've figured out our x and y values, we actually have to graph them. Well, just like a normal coordinate, this is your x, this is your y value. First is x, -2, 1, 2, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, 1, -1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, oop, do apologize. Hopefully someone caught that on my video. 2 squared is not 2, it is actually 4. I do apologize. Alright, so that should be 4. So it should be 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you guys aren't getting too mad because I'm making mistakes. Alright, so now this is what's known as a quadratic. It makes a U shape. Okay, so we're going to make a little U shape right here. The graph should look something like this. The next thing is absolute value. Now you guys remember absolute value from our first unit. Okay, it's these little two lines next to the x. What that does again is it makes the number inside positive. So we're going to do the exact same thing. So we did up here, we're going to make a t-chart. X, y. Okay, once again, I'll probably give you on the test something to really help you out, but we'll be practicing this in class too. So, x, okay, we're going to start at -2. We'll just do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay. Let's try this out. So, -2, alright? The absolute value of -2 plus 3. Well, the absolute value of -2 is 2 plus 3 would be 5. -1. The absolute value of -1 plus 3, well, that equals 4. 0 plus 3 equals 3. Absolute value of 1 plus 3 equals 4. Absolute value of 2 plus 3 equals 5. Okay? So once again, we have our x, y coordinates. X, y, x, y, x, y, x, y. So let's graph these. -2, 5. -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1, 4. -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 1, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 5. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This one makes what's known, it looks like a V. Alright, it's going to look like a V. This one looks like a U. This one looks like a V. Alright, that's normally what a quadratic looks like. That's normally what an absolute value looks like. So, it's the end of the notes. Okay. So now that we've finished the notes, what you're going to do is you're going to come into class and you're going to ask questions if you have any questions. Alright, thank you.